So we are actually literally about to experience the greatest crash of our generation. And the worst part about it is people don't even know that it's happening. Even though the headlines, the stories, the videos are telling you, a lot of oftentimes are telling you, warning you, alerting you to prepare. But I don't think people are really grasping.
You got to understand, most people are of the "I'll believe it when I see it" mind frame.
No, well, sort of, but I also think that they have a plan in mind, right? So I was watching Jared Jones, and he said that, all these people flocking to Florida is what's driving up the lack of affordability, the unaffordability of housing in Florida, and destroying the insurance market. And then, he mentioned Ron DeSantis and a few other things. But when he said that, he says the biggest problem is because there are people coming here, moving here from Chicago, New York, and like maybe one other place. I don't remember exactly where it was. Maybe California.
There's a lot of people in California and Detroit too.
He named 3 states, right? But then he goes, just kidding. Just kidding. He says that like, just kidding. He's not trying to say that the people coming from here are bad, right?
Okay, yeah.
But he goes to say that when he makes those videos, when he creates those thumbnails and titles, which is very telling based on obvious data collected from research that's been done by us. He says he gets a flood of comments. He gets a flood of comments and almost like combative comments of, no, our market is never going to crash. The Florida housing market is never going to crash. These certain hyper-local markets are never going to crash. And
never say never.
That's their opinion, right?
Yeah.
That's their opinion on how they are prepared. So what were you going to say?
I was just going to say never say never. No, we didn't think that we'd have a second Great Depression style whatever, which technically it wasn't nearly as bad as the Great Depression, obviously, but the crash of 2008 was a huge deal. We didn't think that our entire world was going to have to go into some weird lockdown because of some, whatever virus, and that happened. You don't always think things are going to happen, and they can still happen. You don't think you're going to get hit by a car crossing the street, it can still happen. You
don't think you're going to have a stroke.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Foxx has a stroke, I think
about it all the time, actually. I'll be brushing my teeth going, is this when this happens? Like, what oh, you didn't know Jamie Foxx had a stroke? Well, our kid over here is like, well, they didn't say in the beginning that that's what it was, and they're still not 100%. When he first went into the hospital, they weren't saying that's what it was. They weren't telling anybody what happened. He was in the middle of filming a movie with Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz came out of retirement, if you will, to film with Jamie Foxx because they did the Annie movie together. And Jamie Foxx really wanted Cameron Diaz in this movie. Remember, she was Haggard. What's her name? Haggerty. I don't remember her name, and he was Warbucks-ish, whatever he was supposed to be.
He was Stax.
He was Stax. What was her name in the movie? I don't remember her name in the movie. I disliked her greatly in the movie, which means she did a very good job. But anyway, he went into the hospital, and it came out later that it was a stroke. Nobody knew exactly what had happened.
And speaking of movies,
Little Mermaid sucked.
I was blown away by how terrible that movie was, and not for the reasons that everybody was talking about.
I had zero issues with the reasons.
And honestly, there were more reasons to blast that movie than what everyone was talking about.
Well, it's so funny.
Like if you actually watch the movie, it's like no one said anything about this before it came out.
So it's really weird that everybody had an issue with the fact that Ariel was black. But they didn't.
I don't think they had an issue that she was black. I think they had an issue that she wasn't white with red hair. Can we say that?
Which would be that she's black.
Well, I mean, there's more than just white women with red hair and black women. Like, there's more than that. I think that was the issue.
Because they knew her as a white fish. Guess what? Mermaids aren't real. So
just think. Let's use this for food for thought. If Dylan played Ariel and had a red wig on, then the issue wouldn't be that Ariel was black. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was that Ariel wasn't what Ariel was supposed to be.
We can't say the full name, so we'll call him Millen.
No, we're not going to say it.
Okay. There's a person, but we'll talk about it later.
We don't want to end up like Matt Walsh. But the simple fact of the matter is that she wasn't white with red hair. I think is the issue. The issue then became because she was black. But if she was something else, then it would have been something else. But there were so many other things in that movie that no one was talking about.
What's when they gave Eric his own little songs?
We're not gonna. No spoilers. No spoilers. No, if you want spoilers, come check us out on Patreon, okay? And then we can tell you everything.
I have a Little Mermaid tattooed on my back. Like, I love Little Mermaid.
Everything.
And I dislike this movie. Not because of any of the characters, just the movie itself. I was like...
It was brutal.
It was brutal.
It was brutal, but then I'm thinking to myself, they made a movie about Barbie.
It's so much better than the first
Now, I will say that The Little Mermaid, at least it is a movie for children. There's so many movies out there that they say are PG or whatever and for kids, and you get in there and you're like, that feels wrong.
It was interesting how they played the part when she got legs, because obviously she was completely naked when she got legs.
But they showed even less in this movie than they do in the cartoon version.
Spoiler alert. She's not good at that. She's not good at spoiler alerts. But either way, Barbie's got a movie coming out, and I don't even know how I feel about that one, based on the preview. Now, granted, I heard something about it from the standpoint of now they're picking on Ryan Gosling because
being too old,
because he stood up for Ken. But whatever, who cares? The point is that we've gotten way far off topic here.
Yeah, sorry.
And I was talking about how Jared Jones' comments would give you some indication of how people are preparing for the crash, for the collapse. Whereas in the instance of my content, what comments do I get that reveal a majority of the audience who chooses to comment? What is their preparation for the crash?
Chickens and canned goods.
Grow food, get some chickens, buy all you can of this canned food, things like that. I don't even get the, freedom bullet, free, buy ammunition. I don't get, save money. I don't get any of that. And that's what I'm saying is that much like how Jared Jones started off his video and said that, the people coming from these states are the problem, just kidding. What I'm saying is the crash is coming and people are not paying attention to it, just kidding. But the simple fact of the matter is that it is happening. And unfortunately, the comments are revealing just how ill-prepared people are. Unless these comments aren't real.
Lots of bots out there.
Unless these comments aren't real, because we can actually show you a collection of comments that we have saved and we continue to get that aren't real. They are automated AI, chat GPT generated comments with the strangest intentions, which further worries me about the future of this crash and just how the non-prepared are going to be even worse off, and how they are not prepared for the lies and misinformation that's going to hit them immediately when this happens. What are you pondering over there?
What am I pondering over here? I was actually thinking about the people that I talked about up in the Northeast who are getting hit with the wildfire smoke from California, and how I don't believe a lot of what they're saying and whatever else. But you
didn't watch my video yesterday.
I did not watch your video
Which
yesterday.
is fine.
You didn't watch mine either.
So what happened was yesterday, we both read the same email. I recorded a video and you recorded a video. And we made two different videos.
Completely, because we weren't in the same place. And he sent me this email and he said, you need to see this. And I read it and I said, crap. I'd actually just been looking at a couple things, but I hadn't really seen much about it, because down here in Florida, it's not affecting us. So it's not on Florida news. It's not anything like that. YouTube isn't pushing it to me, none of that stuff. So I had to go look for it when one of my commenters, one of my subscribers was like, hey, I'm up here in New York and it's really bad. It's orange here. Like, I can't breathe. I can't do whatever. And my brain goes, why is it orange though? That part doesn't make sense. So when he sent me the email, I'd already looked it up and I was like, oh, I have thoughts on this. So I made a video.
Well, the cool part about it is you said that you don't believe it. And we were on the same page with that.
Okay.
And it's not that I didn't believe that it happened. I couldn't believe what they were telling people to do.
That part too.
Because it happened.
Yeah.
That's what I couldn't believe. And I went down a completely different direction than you went down, which I knew would happen, but which was why I said, here, read this, make your video, I'll do mine. We never talked about it, but now we need to watch each other's video.
Yeah.
We need to watch each other's video and react to each other's video.
That'd be interesting.
But we always have different perspectives on the same topics, but typically in the same direction.
Yeah.
But yours goes towards the people and mine goes towards the money.
Yeah.
Like without fail.
I'm the emotion and you're the sensibility.
And it is part of the problem. The crash that's coming, yeah, it's going to be in the housing market potentially. It's going to be in the commercial, corporate real estate market potentially. It's going to be in tech jobs potentially. It's going to be in a lot of jobs, because actually I have some information I'll share with you guys about the list of careers and jobs that are going to be wiped out in the next few years. Data collected by Statistica or something. And now they're playing with people's emotions and telling them that they're not going to lose their jobs because employers are afraid of letting too many people go. They're afraid of letting too many people go and not being able to get them back.
Yeah.
So like they keep toying with your emotions, right? But it dawned on me as we were sitting here. Are you checking out her butt?
No, I was looking at her hair.
Oh, her hair's up there.
Well, so's her butt. Like, you got a very high booty. But no, I was looking at her hair and her shirt when she moved her hair.
That was like Jamie Foxx on Living Color. He had a high booty.
Oh yeah, when he had the whole that thing.
So
I forgot his name, the character.
But it had Vaseline all over his lips.
All the time.
But
And red lipstick.
the crash is coming, and it dawned on me as we were sitting here. We were just sitting here. Y'all got your Starbucks drinks.
Which we forgot to use the gift cards that we got. The whole reason we came here is because she came through the drive-thru with my sister-in-law and my nephew one day while I was inside Publix getting stuff for us to grill. They came through Starbucks, and my daughter over here hiding, tried to order me my matcha that I like, and they were like, sorry, we're out of matcha. So then my nephew tries to order something, like, sorry, we're out of that too, and they felt bad, so they gave two different $5 gift cards, $4 gift cards, two different ones, $4 gift cards to cover the fact they didn't have the products. And that's the whole reason why we came today, was to use those gift cards.
Oh, I thought you got another gift card too.
Oh yes, yes, Kim and Greg sent us a gift card.
So
and I still use my app. It's habit. You don't think about it.
But we're sitting here and we're having this conversation, we're having this talk, which I'm not gonna tell you guys everything here. So if you want to know more about what we were talking about, then come on over to Patreon, because
we can have full-on conversations, because I have potty mouth sometimes.
Yeah, and you dropped a bomb yesterday that lit the whole Joker up, and everybody's talking about it now. But
that's true. I saw. I have to go back and reply to everybody's comments.
But it was clear. Like, it was clearly obvious after sitting here and seeing what just occurred, the data on my phone, the statistics, the analytics, and it was just like light bulb went off.
You got up and walked away, and I turned to her and I said, bet money comes back with a microphone and a camera stand. I could see the look on your face that you had something you wanted to tell them, like, immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I want to tell them, I want to tell you, I want to tell myself. But people are not prepared for it. They're not ready for it. And I kind of hoped that that wasn't the case. And you see where that got me.
What is it you always say? Hope is not a plan? I said it in my video today on 2.0. I said, as the man always says, hope is not a plan.
I guess you're right. Because I really hope that it wasn't going to be as bad as it is. And I was completely wrong. You said, no, maybe it can be better. And I was like, nah. And, and then I just saw it. Jared Jones was actually using Reventure Consulting's analytical data to show you the housing market data for Florida, right? So essentially, I could do the same thing. I could do the same thing, and instead of using Reventure Consulting's app that he created, I can just show you the analytic data and prove to you that the crash is here, it's happening, it's coming, it's going to be worse than anybody's ever thought, and nobody's ready for it. Nobody. Well, some people may be, but most people are not. And the problem is that they won't know that it happened until after it happened.
It's true.
They won't even know it happened until after it happened. Now, I got a whole nother video that I put together that I'm going to put on Patreon. I'll show you guys a little clip right here. But if you want to see the rest of it, link down in the description down below. And it is both of us over there speaking our mind freely. And we got a lot to say. We got a lot to say, a lot that people are saying, you know, how come nobody else is saying this?
When is our first Zoom with the members?
I gotta check. I gotta see. I got a lot of notifications going off on the phone. But what we do have there, I guess I should tell you guys, we're going to do one-on-one live phone calls, live video chat.
Yeah, because you can't do that on YouTube.
No, you can't.
Can only, like I was telling my people on Scroll Tribe 2.0 today, I can live stream to members
and then
only.
You got to type.
And then y'all have to type, and it's not the same as this. You know what I mean? Like, this is still great. Still love being here. But there's something about face and watching the facial expressions and hearing the tones and the whatever else.
So we've opened up a few slots for those who want to have the ability to communicate and chat with us and engage in these conversations in real time. Mm-hmm. It's a limited amount of seats available, and they may have already sold out because you mentioned it on your video today. So they may have already sold out. However, I will say, just like when I tell you guys that you can make content and post content on YouTube and make money doing that, you don't have to show your face. Same with this. You don't have to show your face. So if you want to engage, that's fine. You can see us.
Talk if you want to, but you can turn your camera off.
Yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. You don't have to turn the camera on. You can see us. Mm-hmm. You can see whoever else decides to show up. But it's going to be a small group, and we're literally going to have specific topics of discussion and conversation.
Like a round table.
Yeah. And some of the things that you guys may be thinking or saying to yourself while you watch these videos or watch the live streams that she does and chat on the live chat, well, you can just say it, and then you can get an immediate dialogue.
Because what I was thinking is, there's so many comments that come through. Literally, I'll get 3 to 10,000 comments on a video, depending on what the video is, and it's impossible for me to see every single comment and reply back to all the comments.
And then I noticed on the live stream, a chat will say something, but you don't know when they're watching the live stream.
Yeah.
So if they came in 30 minutes late and
it doesn't go with what the thing is, and sometimes I get confused. So it's like I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah. So that we just launched that. But if you want to see the data, if you want to see the numbers, if you want to know the truth that I have been working to uncover here, that it may shock some of you, but quite possibly is really more so going to disappoint more of you to understand what's really happening. Mm-hmm. It's going to disappoint you to know what's happening and know that there isn't really a great solution besides more of the same, which means more stress, more anxiety, more drama, more reduction of income, more higher prices and inflation. You said that the body wash.
The body wash that you've always gotten, I've paid $5.79. Last time I went in, it was $5.79, and even that was higher than normal. It is now $7.99. Nothing has changed. It's the same stuff, the same size bottle, the same everything. But now that summer has hit, for some reason, there's no reason for there to be inflation anymore. There's nothing. There's no supply chain issues. There's no anything. Literally now it's just because they're greedy.
There's two reasons. One, they raise the price of gas, then everybody, starts mouthing off. But they incrementally raise the price of everything else, and it kind of goes unnoticed because it's absorbing the price of gas. But the other thing is I made another video, and here's the problem with the videos that I make, right? I call it like I see it.
Mm-hmm. And people aren't used to that and they don't like that.
No. I call it like I see it, so people miss it.
Oh, yeah.
They miss it, But at the end of the day, I made a video and I shared how the Home Depot is one of many retailers that has already announced that they're expecting to experience huge declines in sales, revenue, and profits. Their option is to eat it, despite after having experienced huge growth, 45% growth since the pandemic. Now they're expecting to see like a 10% decline, and it's a big deal, despite the fact that they had 40 to 45% growth. Now they're having a 10% decline. They don't like that. So it's like, but you have 40 to 45% growth. Like, this is why you should have been saving your money. This is why you should have been, not wasting your money. But the option was to suck it up. It is what it is. Another option would have been to reduce costs, reduce overhead operating expenses so that the revenues that you do get go further as far as profit. What does that mean? It means lay people off.
Panda helmet on the chick. It's a big panda head.
It means job loss, layoffs, terminations to lower overhead, right? Which is going to be a part of that long list of jobs I told you that was getting cut over the next few years. But then the other option would have been raise prices. If you're going to get less sales, make more money per sale. And that's why body wash is $8 a bottle now.
Honestly, I don't know. People are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but I would prefer the $8 because the more people you lay off, the less money you have going back into the economy because there's nobody to spend it, the worse off we're going to be in the long run.
And this is why the crash is going to be the biggest ever, worse than we've ever seen, because the prices are going up, the jobs are getting cut, and when it's all said and done, the comments are saying, buy chickens, grow food, start a farm. Where are you getting this money from? Where are you getting this land and property from?
I was about to say land is not cheap or free.
Where are you getting this skill and resources from? Not everybody can do that. But that's the problem, is that tells me where the mindset of the majority of folks who choose to comment is, and it is completely off base. But here's the video. Here's a clip. Check us out on Patreon. Thanks for watching. See you. Bye.
Bye.
So let's get real about how expensive everything's getting. There's no question that now is more challenging than ever, especially with the rising costs and prices that we're experiencing left and right. Higher inflation, higher interest rates, and an uncertain and sketchy job market. I get asked often, frequently, and new members are signing up daily, gaining access to additional information and direct communication with not only me, but my wife as well, and other guests that we feature on the Patreon channel. But for you guys here on YouTube, I do want to explain to you what a lot of folks are complaining about, worrying about, stressing about, but also some of the things that they're doing to try to help bridge that gap that they're experiencing with this financial hardship, with this cost of living crisis, living below the poverty line, but also trying to work hard to get out of debt and develop diverse and multiple income streams, and utilizing tools that are made available to them that give them the ability to work from home, work remotely, make money online, and things as simple as social media jobs. Now, I know everybody's financial situation is going to be different, but hopefully if you guys do need help, you reach out. But the simple fact of the matter is that costs are going up, expenses are increasing, basic necessities, utilities, they're all on the rise. Wages are down, jobs are being lost, and from what I hear, the Fed is going to continue raising interest rates, which is only going to further compound the catastrophic effects felt by many. Housing is no longer affordable, not as though it really ever was in the past, but more so now than ever. A single family home or townhome or an apartment or even renting a house has gotten really expensive. And yeah, sure, you can look into modular homes, mobile homes, trailers, but even those are seeing huge price increases and also being eliminated around the country as that real estate is becoming more and more valuable to investors and developers looking to displace those homeowners, displace those tenants, and bulldoze those areas and begin to build up high-rise condos and expensive housing that most people just can't afford. Cost of living is crazy right now, and wages are not keeping up with inflation. Everyone's been feeling the pinch, but it seems like people are running out of their buffer money. And most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and are just one unexpected expense away from, or one job loss away from losing everything. And I honestly don't think people realize how quickly it can happen. Now, we live here in Florida, and I've seen a huge influx of people who are living in their cars. And it's not just adults either. There are children with them as well. And if you've been following my channel, you know that my goal is to find ways to offset costs, budget better, increase income, reduce and eliminate debt, build savings reserves for these emergencies, unexpected surprise expenses, and invest in stocks, crypto, businesses, real estate, and most importantly, yourself. And after receiving so many messages about how all these people have lost their jobs since the beginning of the year and are trying to find their new way in this increasingly more expensive economy. Now, some on just only $1,500 a month budget. And needless to say, that living on so little isn't fun, and the only way that you'll be able to get by is really only if you're debt-free. But even being debt-free, $1,500 is the absolute lowest that most could go without beginning to suffer. And depending on your family size, this could be a very tight and challenging endeavor. For instance, one of my subscribers shared with me that their grocery budget for a family of 5 is just $400 a month. And thankfully, their housing costs are really low, and they try to walk or ride bikes as many places as possible instead of driving their car. And as a family, they only have one car at that. And I know what you're thinking. Probably thinking to yourself, well, of course they can manage on so little. $1,500 a month can go much further when you own your own home and don't have any debt. And you're absolutely right. But this isn't necessarily the case for the majority, and many families in America are trying to survive on these extremely low wages and make do as they experience their own cost of living crisis while attempting to make minimum payments on debt so that they don't lose everything. They're currently spending no money on entertainment of any form and have stressed about just how much harder it's getting. They asked me, Kevin, are we all feeling poor? Well, I can't deny that poverty increases are happening to more and more people, and it is getting harder and harder to live each and every day. When you add it all up, grocery prices, housing prices, energy prices, they're all rising and are forcing struggling families that are trying to survive on so little income to consider relocating in search of ways of lowering their cost of living. So, the longtime subscribers of this channel know that we moved to Florida just about a year ago, and the area that we moved to has since seen increases to the cost of living as we have experienced personally with the renewal of our apartment lease this past winter. I've spoken to a lot of other folks in the area, and in particular, new homeowners who purchase homes, townhomes, or condos in the last 12 to 24 months. And they have all pretty much told me the same thing. And that is if they were moving to the same area of Florida where we currently are, then they would probably be priced out of the area. They agree that it's great for their home's resale value, but they could never afford to buy or rent anything where we are right now. And I think we live in a relatively affordable or inexpensive part of Florida when compared to neighborhoods like in the Fort Myers, Naples, Boca, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Florida Keys area. I mean, there are houses that have gone from being worth $150,000 to $230,000. And that's without factoring in any of the renovations that a lot of people have done or are currently doing to their houses. Now, I know for a fact that there are lots of people making trips to the Home Depot and Lowe's, and they're currently working on several home renovation projects. Some small, some rather large, which in theory, if they need to sell their house, it will be worth as much as possible after these have been completed. Now, these weekend DIY projects save money and help to keep costs down because hiring someone to do the renovations is expensive. They've been doing just about everything themselves. Now, granted, it's cheaper, but it's also taking them a lot longer because they're sometimes learning as they go. And in a struggling, low-income family cost of living crisis, it's not really like they could afford to hire anybody even if they really wanted to. I mean, one subscriber, her name is Jill, she told me that the cost of living crisis has had an impact on them, much like it has on most people's lives. And many people are struggling to make ends meet. People have lost jobs. Their hours have been cut and their wages are just not keeping up with inflation. They're having to cut back their spending on essentials like food and housing, and people are also having to work longer hours when possible or even take on second jobs or side hustles too, just to make enough money to pay their current bills. They're even taking advantage of the opportunities linked down below to make money by simply replying to comments on Facebook and posting tweets on Twitter. Anything and everything that helps add to monthly income, savings, and budgeting. I even saw a list today of services that will no longer be required, and it ranked the fastest shrinking jobs expected to experience projected changes in employment in the US between now and the next few years. Fast food cooks, bookkeeping, accounting, and auditing clerks, first line supervisors of retail sales workers, miscellaneous assemblers and fabricators, executive secretaries and administrative assistants, customer service representatives, office clerks, and topping the list, cashiers. The cost of living crisis has also had a negative impact on people's mental health, and people are feeling stressed and anxious about their financial situation. They are desperately worrying about the future. Now, I have a teenage daughter who at some point will be trying to plan to move out and become an independent adult. Whew. And we've been looking into how much it's going to cost her to move out, what income she's going to need, how much money she's going to need to have in savings. And guys, let me just tell you, things are crazy. Now, I get a lot of messages from subscribers, and many of them are in the same boat and they don't know how they're going to do it. It's shocking when you crunch the numbers and do a deep dive into what the average cost of living is in the United States today and what people are paying for their bills. And man, things have just gotten so out of hand and seemingly so quickly. It's going to be really hard for them to make it into adulthood, and I really can't even imagine what it would be like for people right now if they aren't debt free. I mean, I was looking at how much it would cost to rent a home in some of these other areas of Florida. And if you were needing to look for housing, then this is going to really apply to you. So pay attention. Now, I figured on average, people would need a minimum of a 2-bedroom apartment or house. Now, depending on the size of the family, the older kids could share a bedroom, and then if they had a baby, he or she could just room in with mom and dad. And the average price was about $2,500 for a 2-bedroom. And based on my search results, generally it ended up being an apartment. Now, the absolute lowest that I could find was $1,700 a month, but it wasn't a super safe area, so I'm not sure if everyone would be actually interested in or able to even do that. But let's just say that you were going to move into the $1,700 a month apartment. Well, if you decided you wanted to rent that $1,700 a month apartment, you would need to put in an application that was going to cost $100. Now, they're going to run a credit check, and then you'll also need to make 3 times the amount of the monthly rent. So your income would need to be $5,100 a month, which according to most is not even close if they were even able to get approved to be qualified based on their credit report and FICO score. But let's press on, because if you made that amount of money, then you would have to put down the first month's rent, the last month's rent, and a security deposit, which is all equal to about 1 month's rent. So the total upfront cost just to move into that $1,700 a month apartment is $5,200. And so to move into the average price apartment in the area that is $2,500 a month, well, that's a $7,500 monthly income requirement and about $7,500 up front to move in. And that doesn't include the cost of hiring a moving company or any furniture or other items that might be needed. Oh, And it's likely that your first month's rent will overlap your current month's rent from wherever you're moving out from. So that's just more cash outlay because they don't accept credit cards to pay rent. And based on the messages that I've received, what you're telling me is that some of you are not even close to being able to afford the cheapest spot around here. And that's just crazy when you think about it. Despite having cut your budgets down to the bone and not having to carry the same monthly expenses as many others do, and based on the average cost of all the things that the average American is currently paying for, like a car payment of $500, credit cards, which the average person pays $430 a month in credit cards, or student loans at $280 a month, the average family of four spends $1,300 a month on groceries, and they spend $300 a month on eating out. And if you have a baby, and if you were to go to work and put the baby in childcare, that would be another $770 a month on average. I mean, you can try to save money by using cloth diapers and cloth wipes, but the average person spends about $80 a month on disposable diapers and wipes, and formula is another added cost and expense that further impacts the cost of living crisis in struggling families, feeling poor, living below the poverty line, who don't have the ability or luxury of being able to breastfeed, especially since a lot of people are not able to because they're either working so much or working more than one job, and they just don't have the time or are worried about getting fired because of it. Now, if you're working, then you're gonna end up paying about $200 a month on top of everything else in formula. And that's assuming that the child doesn't have any allergies or need to be on any special type of formula, which if you add all of these costs up, all of this comes to a total of $6,360 a month. And that doesn't even include things that we're already paying for, like utilities, gas, insurance, phone, or internet. I mean, things are only getting worse, and if you feel like you're struggling more than ever, you are. I mean, yes, wages have increased some over the years, and they're not anywhere close to keeping up with inflation. Over the last 50 years, the average household income has increased by 16%, while housing costs have increased by 190%, and college tuition has increased by 264%. I really feel for the kids and other Gen Zers, kids. I mean, it's gonna be really hard for them. I may try putting together some videos with some of the local teenagers who are working and talk to them more about this and what their financial plans are for the future, how they are preparing, how they are making money, how much money they want to have saved, and just what their tentative plans may be, including what all they have been taught about finances growing up and in school, if any. If you're interested in that video and want to see a breakdown of a $1,500 a month budget, you can check out that video below, links in the description. And if you want to see how you can create your very own bare bones budget, then make sure you click the link in the description below. Or you can just check out this video on the screen next. So what are your biggest challenges when it comes to your cost of living? And if you have teens, how are you preparing them to be able to financially afford transitioning into adulthood? And if you have recently transitioned a teen into adulthood, please give everyone some tips and pointers, because I know it's going to be super hard with the way things are going right now. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you guys take care, be safe. I'll see you on the next one.